You can go to soten.z.dev to learn more about the Castlevania Symphony of the Night decompilation project. There we go. Excellent connection. And we've been working on the Richter boss. I haven't been pushing that code back. I did just push a PR for two of the sword familiar functions that we've worked on in the past week or so. Looks like there is a lot of work going on. 13 changes that I don't have in my repo. Let's pull those and let's get a build. And then we'll see what there is to do. Hey, Nate the Great, good to have you. Oh, awesome. Is that a gaming laptop? My PC that I use for development here is an older i7. And the GPU is okay, but I would like something nicer. Unfortunately, that's a half-height case, which limits what I can do. Let's look at I'm just going to focus on the functions that don't have names, and we'll try to map those. Most of these look like they are duplicates, but not similar enough to the original Richter functions. I would think that I would imagine that I could do most PlayStation 3 things as well. I haven't tried any PS3 emulators. Do the PS3 emulators run the whole like cross-media bar and all that too? I was just thinking about my PS3. I have a couple fat full backwards compat models. The first one I bought used, and it was which one? The 6? It was either 20 or 60 gig. I can't remember. It was the one with two USB ports. It didn't have the didn't have all the memory card reader stuff, and that was okay. I didn't need that. The reason I bought a PS3, I had a Wii, so I think the Xbox was like the last console that I bought, and then we got a Wii just because of the novelty. We have just this one global. I'm guessing it's an array, and my guess is that this is going to be just something to index into this array. So I'm going to make it an array of signed 32s. There's nothing else that's going in there. And then Ni no Kuni came out, and I love Studio Ghibli, and so I really wanted to be able to play that game. So I found a good deal on a used PS3, somebody at work at the time, and then the game didn't end up coming out for several years afterwards. But I did play it, and it was a great game. I did not care as much for Ni no Kuni 2 was okay, but not having Studio Ghibli involved reduced my interest. Hey Tessa, good to have you. There is some pointer type. Let's get a type for this. There's some pointer type that M2C couldn't figure out. This is going to be a pass-through assignment. get this compiling and then we'll keep going. I should probably look at what this most likely is, because it might be worth just grabbing the Richter implementation and going from there. We'll start here though and see. So where are all these unknowns coming from? Line 42. So this is primitive, and I'm not sure why these are all coming back as unknown. Kind of an odd. So all the G entity 64 are showing up as Rick, or it should be Rick. Unknown 2 is I low. A little strange. Let's see if there's any of these other ones that are pointing to something other than the primitive. Let's look at where this is as well in the C file. So it's after the Vibhuti crash. So I'm going to go find where that Vibhuti crash is for Richter and look at all the functions around that same area. So primitive decrease brightness is possibly the one before. Then we have subweapon Agunya. May or may not be related. Is there anything in there? Maybe, maybe not. And then hit enemy. I think that's more likely. So what this might teach us, interesting that Vibhuti crash cloud is so far down. And the next one we have is rebound stone explosion. Which is not in this file. So if they are similar, it's not obvious. I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at the dupes report. And I thought that... Oh, do I have... Yes, I do have a threshold that can be set. So let's do... Let's do 80% similarity. And then we'll try to make this we'll try to make this report, and then we can see if this shows up close. If there's a close function here, it'd be my preference to just reuse it. While that's going, let's see if there's anything else like particularly interesting here that we might be able to pull out to see. The flags here, but flags are often different for the boss. There's this deeply nested condition here, but then we don't know yet what the entity extension is going to be. And there's 20 of whatever this is. So let's look at the dupes report. Build US reports, duplicates. Let's see if this one showed up. 80% I would expect it to be closer, and yeah, it is. And so we have an unnamed function, which is fine. It was in the dupes report the whole time. It was 98%. Okay, so I just missed it. So we'll try to find this function and go from there. The other thing I think I'm going to do after finishing this function off is do some of the initialization data. I haven't done that yet, and getting the entity extensions and all that I think is pretty nice to have. You get to see the order of like what the entities are. So it looks like it's part of Crash Rebound Stone. So we're gonna take this and we'll use that as our starting point. And there's the normal things are gonna have to change. The player is gonna become Rick, G player is gonna become G Rick. The major thing is we have this global that we'll need to map. It looks like a blueprint that we don't have. I think the blueprints are in the header file already. I'm just going to define this as, I think 49. Sorry. All right, and that gets us 97%, which is about as close as we expected to be. Like I said, there's going to be a couple of these flags and things like that that are different. These are fun, but a little obvious if you know what's going on. So this is saying that the immediate value is different, 244 versus 244. So how can the same number be different? The diff has determined that those lines have different semantic meaning, and so we'll have to go down to those lines and see what that is. While I'm here, though, I am going to do the player and Rick substitutions. And then we'll keep going and see. So here's where that difference was, down on 62. Let's see what M2C thinks about this. So the end of case 1, or sorry, end of case 0. Is it the function call that's different? That might be. Yes. So there's no sound effect. And I think that was it. That was the major difference. We do have a few minor things still. So our blueprint here should be 45. Function is different. And I think that might be it. I'm gonna go back to this old global name. And let's give that a shot. We were 618. I think this should be fine. I gave it the wrong name. I had taken the name from Richter. I should make a comment here. So I'll leave that there. And hopefully that was all it was. Hey, Roaming. A little bit of what's on the docket today, Roaming says. We're going to do a blueprint name should be different. Yes, you're probably right. The blueprint name probably should be different. Let's let me go back and look at that. So I'm going to do that one function first, and then I think I'm going to look at the init data. I think we're fine for the blueprint. So I do think it is the same. It'll have the same name. And I have a note for myself later to pull these out and share them. All the blueprint IDs so far have been the same. So I don't think there's a reason to rename it, and keeping them the same means that that code can be shared later. Let's look at that's a good consideration, though. So thank you, Jessica. Oh, Ian, I'm done with. I didn't realize that I had done that already. There is one additional data section that has a bunch of the like factory generated entities. That's probably worth looking at as well as the overlay. I like doing the overlay headers. We could automate this because it's just data, but it's nice to do. Oh, at some point I had started it, didn't finish it. A little funny. So let's look at that. We'll do. I'm gonna open a new tab with this, and then next to it, US OSPO 6 data, and this is just 0. A bunch of these things it looks like I have not mapped yet, and so we'll need to do that. So the sprite banks need to be mapped. the color lookup tables need to be mapped. And so I'll do that at the same time. I haven't looked to see whether or not assets is usable for some of these things. So we have our horizontal list of entities. Then we need tile layers and graphics banks. Graphics banks should be the OVL exported graphics banks. Tile layers, I don't know what I can't remember the name that's used for that typically. So let's grab that though. And then Richter sprites, it looks like I have given that a name already. So let's make sure that that shows up. It should show up in this data here. We should replacing these with better names. This bottom one, and then the tile layers. We'll need to get that. I'll grab the Richter sprites too, since that one is known as well. I might as well look at Doppelganger and see, is that just called tile layers? Room layers. That's it. Do that one too. This header struct that exists is actually different. There's at least 3 different versions of it. So we have reference to these as well, and we have to go fix those references as the compiler fails to find them. And that's good. 3C is going to be Richter sprites. So that looked good. And so when we update this now, we have all of the symbols that we expect, and I think except for tile layers, this other one should be fine. Rooms layers, I screw that one up a bunch. Is it room layers or rooms layers? I think that's maybe a Europeanism to call it rooms layers. Sorry, Europeans. Over in the Americas, the New World, double plurals is a odd construct. It is rooms layers, so let's keep it. All right, so this header isn't being used yet. So even though it's there, it's not doing us any good. So we have to update data to point to the header. And I usually do these just like bit by bit. So I'll move this initial data for the sprite banks down to offset 34. And add a dot data, which means get it from the C file for header. And we'll see if this worked. Hopefully. Okay, not perfect. Looks like I have some keyboarding issues. We'll get that. We don't need our sprite banks. And there should be a dot in front of object layout horizontal. Let's try again. Unknown to C. That one I'm less certain about. Unknown field, unknown to C. Specified initializer. Oh, we have a updated, abbreviated overlay 2. Like I mentioned earlier, there are 3 different versions of an overlay that may exist. Unknown to C is not a constant, Richter sprites. We don't have it defined, so we need to define that. I don't think I need the size. I think I can just declare it extern U8 Richter sprites. And then we have one more undefined reference. So somewhere something is referencing this overlay itself that's uncommon. It's something that hasn't been decompiled yet. I've actually never seen an overlay reference itself. So that is kind of interesting. This is just the start of the address space for this stage overlay. It's possible that this is a duplicate symbol, but we'll see. There might be an error related to that. No, undefined reference to B06 overlay. Once again, I can't spell. Usually this name doesn't matter because nothing references that symbol directly. So that's all I was. I'm curious to see what is using that for anything. Something in 303C data. 303C data is here. It's just blob of data. We don't know what it's for yet. So that's fine, I guess. So we'll be able to close the symbols now. And I'll keep this other header open. I may or may not want it. The way that the rest of these work are pretty straightforward. Usually the data will just copy over pretty cleanly. There probably is going to be generated data for layers and graphics banks, and if that isn't already being generated by assets, we'll try to do that as well. Most of the time this is just massaging how it gets extracted. So we're going to need declarations for these 4 references. And then a signed 16 pointer called sprite banks. And it's going to have all this data. And I might have as I was looking at what I did, I might have chopped off. Yeah, I chopped off part of these. Don't want to do that. All the null or all the zeros here become nulls. And because of the way Vim Ace, I got my closing bracket just kind of in the middle there. And again, I like to do this just a little bit. You can do it. I like to do these a little bit at a time. So I'll go back over here. Our next data is going to start at 94. So update the 0 data to 94. And build again and see, make sure that I got everything where it should be. I haven't added this, as far as I know, to the repo yet, so I'm going to do that. And so as these things get added, the remaining data is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The next one is a little funnier. You have to think a little bit more about these. And again, they could possibly... this could be automated, but I'm not going to. So we're going to have this... CLUT is a color lookup table. The type that we've been using is unsigned long, basically a array of blobs. And the color lookup tables are little scripts, another little DSL that is used. It looks like there may be some padding as well here. I'm gonna have to look into that. Oh no, that's room layers. Interesting. Okay. The room layers hopefully will be free. We'll see. So there's one color lookup table here. And it's defined by this mess, and this mess we have to go find all the macros for. I'm going to copy this over, or just give it its automatic name. And then we have to go through and decode these. I do know that all ones is going to be palette terminate. Basically, this is a little thing that tells you how to construct a palette. These references are part of the color, an external color lookup table. Let's look up the these macros first, and then we'll go from there. So we need bulk copy. That's our action that we're going to take. And I don't think bulk copy has any... Oh, it does. Destination and data. Oh no, I need bulk copy as my command, right? And so what do we get? We get destination data. So the hard part with these is I do have to know what the size of each of these is beforehand. And do we have other examples of this? We should. Maybe it's not. What? Oh, maybe it's the first one. How many operations? No. Make PAL bulk copy. Yes, thank you. All right. And then each of these is going to be PAL bulk. And we grab the first hex value. The reference has to be the size. So I'm going to be making a bunch of these, and I have to declare them with their proper size. The first value will come from just the data by itself. And what should we do here? Let's I'm going to redeclare each of these. Some of these may or may not overlap with other color lookup tables that are find elsewhere, like looking at the doppelganger, it's referring to gclut, which is a global color lookup table. And then let's get the sizes for each of these. $80, $80, and $80. All right, and then so this. I can keyboard sometimes. Hey, OTM. Good to have you. All right, and so if I did this correctly, which we'll find out in a second. Obviously, I have a bunch of formatting I still need to do. My friends all need to be closed. What we should see, I should be able to go down to DC now. And we should have this as well. I don't see any reason. I guess color lookup tables may be referenced elsewhere, so let's try that. DC is where we're going to start. The frequency, I'm gonna have to look up that arg. So Desik is saying, is the second arg the frequency? I don't think it is, and I'll tell you why in a second. So this is saying these are not constant, which is fine. I just need to figure out what is not constant about them. Bunk copy is not not something that we have, but we do have bulk copy, and I think that's what it was complaining about. It couldn't resolve that symbol. Still can't resolve that symbol. Because all of these are bunk. Let's see if that worked. And there we go. I have lots of bunk copies. Lots of bunk. But there we go. Yeah. When I can type, things compile correctly. Like they're not going to compile correctly. It will compile correctly now. All right. So the next parts of this are now going to be these... the layers and graphics banks, those the assets tool will help us with. We don't have to do those ourselves, and then we can should be able to just import that. So let's see if that works. Sometimes with the bosses and different overlays that don't fit the mold that assets was written for, sometimes they don't work. But we'll try this one and see if we can get it. And so that's going to be in config assets.us. And I already have a BO6 here. And there's already rooms, but we need, let's see, layers is going to start at DC. And graphics banks is going to start at 104. And then we have the layout entities. Do I care about that yet? I don't think so, but I do need to find when this, and oh no, I do have the layout entities already. Okay, so I do care about that. That's at 180. I don't actually, these are going to end up being compiled separately, but might as well get them in there. And this last one is actually still part of the vertical layout, so I'm going to leave it there. This will get mapped in splat config. So I do need to note when the layout starts, which is at 180, and make sure that This is listed there, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm getting the right names. It's eLayDef, and we'll just, right now we'll call it data gen eLayDef. I don't come up with the names, I just use them. And we still have some data. We have the data starting at DC, so I'm going to leave that. What I want to do is generate the files with assets first, and then we'll make sure that those are correct. I do need to terminate this. This is going to terminate at 328. Make sure that that is what is in my Splat config. 328, yes. Right, so let's I think that's everything I need right now. DC. So let's build and see. Forgot a comma. Changing the assets file means basically everything needs to be rebuilt. It's a global file for each version of the game. That's not my preference because of this reason. As you're debugging and trying to go through that, it doesn't get updated very often. And when we get to the point where we're doing portable builds, and especially in the future, if you wanted to make like a PC port of the game, for example, you want something like this configuration so that you can pull out the specific data that you need to use from the disk that we would never be able to copy into a external version of the game. All right, so we have the header files, and I'm gonna, do I need this anymore? So what we should have is a gen directory with a layers.h and a graphicsbanks.h file. And gen is already being used for other things, but we have our generated layers then, and our generated graphics banks. So both of those look fine. The only thing that we need to be certain of is that if there's a reference anywhere to these names, that we add a symbol for it. Usually that's not the case though. Usually the API is to go through these known names that are part of that overlay. So I think those are fine. We used to do all of those manually and didn't have a tool to generate them. It's probably better that they are in a tool, because data, especially how much data is, like if it's stats for a character, that's just facts, but if it's colors and palettes and things like that, there may or may not be copyright issues associated with it. So automating that and making sure that we don't get that data checked in is probably a good idea. I don't know for sure where that cutoff is, but better safe than sorry. And okay, we have a few things to resolve. So undefined reference to BO6 tile map, 0. So I need a symbol for this. So let's go back over here. This was part of the graphics banks, and so we get the symbols from here. So we need to provide those symbols to continue on. What we should ultimately be doing is generating those tile maps as well. I just haven't gotten to that point. So which one do you do first? You got to do one or the other. You got to map it either way. So let's map this one first, and then we'll worry about the tile map out another day. If you do them both at the same time, then you don't have to worry about the mapping, but I find that a little too hard to debug for my taste. And then I think we're going to end up with the same idea here. In graphics banks, there's going to be an extern there that we have to worry about. A couple externs. Naming is odd. Go to name them D_US, they would have worked out, right? So why would it generate names without the US? That's odd. Yeah, that seems like a tooling issue. But again, if all this was being generated, this would not be an issue. Right. So then the other thing that was done was, and maybe this is, would this have come from eLayerDef? Let's look. I didn't even look at that file. So eLayerDef is being generated as well. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that. Okay. None of those would have come here. The other thing, so we're generating this file, it's including common.h. I need to go back to Discord and talk about this a little bit. Common.h is a hard-coded header file that is included in all the files that Splat generates. And I'm increasingly becoming opinionated that this should only have things like include ASM and other things to support the assembly portions of the build, and shouldn't be included. Once the assembly is out, common.h should basically go away altogether. Right now it's included just about everywhere, and really it has those, but like that core assembly support, which we increasingly want to get away from. And so having common.h kind of says, it kind of keeps you tied to the inline assembly. So there's no reason to have this, because everything common.h does either comes from other header files or is assembly related, and there's nothing assembly related here. So I don't think that header is necessary. The reason why it's somewhat of a big deal is I put a lot of work into making sure we can intelligently rebuild things based on header files that have changed. And so when everything depends on a particular header file, that means changing that header file rebuilds everything, and for something that only should affect inline assembly files, it seems silly to make that affect everything else. So that eLayDef file we can turn into a .data instead of a data, and we should be able to build that now as well. And all that is coming from generated data now. Oh, there's entity layout symbols maybe that we need to add. Frat. Yeah, these are extern as well. Bummer. Okay, let's figure out where those symbols are. So this is gen eLayDef. And fortunately, these are all based on just 2 arrays. It's possible that this is actually, now I'm thinking about it, these may have been generated already as well. Let's look. Yeah, these are. Okay, so eLayout, we have a eLayout. I don't need to add symbols for these. I just need to map it to the appropriate place. And let's see if I have a entry for that already. Would it be better to add graphics data 1, 2, 3? Yes, it would. But it's not being named that. And where are these? All right, so I do already have eLayout. We just need to turn that on as well, and hopefully that's enough. Yeah. So yeah, I had already split this out into its own segment. I just needed the symbol. So there's more of these in here. There's the background block in it, a bunch of other things that assets can do as well, that we don't need to write manually anymore, which is nice. But I'm not gonna do any more of that right now. What time is it? 12:15. Let's get that stuff checked in. All right. I'll find one more small one, and that'll be it for today. So I am going to look at the duplicates report first. Okay, so this is a dupe. So it's in Richter. It's an Alucard function, and it's in both of the doppelgangers as well. So this one should be this, hopefully just copy pasta. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna take this from Doppelganger 10. Doppelganger, of the two Doppelgangers, I've done the most work cleaning up Doppelganger 10. I do need to go back and clean up Doppelganger 40 because Doppelganger 10 is actually reasonably portable. So here's this version of the function in Doppelganger 40. Not sort. I want to write that. It looks like there are a bunch of globals that will have to be grabbed. Looks like they're animation frames. I think they all are, but 7/8 definitely is. I guess I'll just look up A8. Just in case it's not. Yeah, it is visible. And put these in order. So we have symbols that are different, global symbols that are different. Instead of DOP, it'll be Rick. Just like instead of player, it would be Rick. I think everything else, though, looks fine. So let's do the symbol replacement first. And then instead of Doppelganger, or Dop, we'll do Rick. And I don't see anything like Gplayer or Gdop versus Grick, so nothing to worry about there. My macro is just defined wrong, so I'm not going to worry about getting that to be correctly B06. I think that's it for this one, so yeah, pretty straightforward. Let me put the right function name in this time. Oh, this is interesting. What is it called? Oh, I have Rick preceding this. That probably doesn't need to be there since it's namespace. Some of this came from kind of ad hoc namespacing early on. That isn't necessary anymore. And there we go. So we had two. Let's see, how many are left? Still 80s, probably. 88 minus 2, so 86 still remaining, so still quite a bit to go. We did get a bunch of the data done today, though, too, which is nice. All of that initial header data done. Background blocking it, like I said, that should be generated as well. Really, it's this data here that's not currently associated with any file. Some of that data probably needs to be looked at eventually as well. I'm reasonably happy with that. So that's all for today. Decompiling a couple more functions for the Richter boss fight. We're working on BO6. I'll try to get some of those things, and I did, like I said, I just submitted a PR prior to the stream for 2 of the 3 remaining. Oh, look at this! How sad for code to go down after functions goes up. I don't even know how that's possible, but it happened. Those 2 additional functions, hopefully those will be checked in. And then, yeah, just one more left for sword. Maybe we can get that done. And if you want to know more about the Symphony of the Night decompilation project, you can go to soten.z.dev and check out the GitHub repo. Join us on Discord. Check out our status. Looks like some of these are coming back, maybe. I think they are. That's it. Adios. See you tomorrow.